Welcome back, tribe. I have an episode here from China Unvarnished. It says, Men, I'm sorry, the confessions of China's older unmarried women.
我爸妈都没有催我说我要谈男朋友。
This time when I went home for the holiday, I was surprised that my parents didn't push me to find a boyfriend like they usually do. Instead, they were unusually gentle towards me. This change made me feel uneasy, especially when I saw my dad smile and suddenly noticed that he had dentures. He's almost 60 now, specifically, he's 58. Seeing these signs of aging, I felt an indescribable sadness and heaviness in my heart. I started reflecting, what exactly have I been holding on to with this sense of superiority? What am I so proud of? These so-called standards and pride have never brought me any real benefit. On the contrary, they've only made my parents worry endlessly about my marriage. Thinking about this, I feel a deep sense of guilt. Although I know that my parents' aging is a result of time's cruelty, not something I've directly caused, I can't shake off this feeling of guilt. I know their biggest concern right now is my marriage, because I'm already 35 years old. In the past, every time I went home, my parents would tirelessly nag me to stop being picky and quickly find a boyfriend to marry. I used to think they were annoying, but this time when I went home for the holiday, my parents didn't mention my love life at all. Have they already given up hope on me? I feel like I've achieved nothing, ignoring my parents' advice, stubbornly sticking to my own views. No matter what others say, I never listen. I always believe my way is the only right way, even when I realize.
So pay attention. This is happening in China where feminism isn't actually a thing. They actually banned a lot of the feminist stuff there. So it's not feminism that's driving women into the same path as Western women, where they're 30 plus, lonely, unmarried, no kids, dating prospects, nil, delusions, maximum, standards through this roof. Seriously. I think the issue is rapid modernization coupled with consumerism, materialism in a what could you call it? Corporatist world. I mean, we like to say the CCC are communist, but it's really something akin to fascism where the state and corporation merges and basically is run as one. The United States is a corporate capitalist society. Basically, corporations run the United States. They donate unlimited funds to both Team Red and Blue. So their interests are always put before the constituency, which is why it seems like in the United States, life as a citizen keeps continually and gradually getting worse. But if you're a corporation, life is getting better and better. I mean, they were granted a personhood. A corporation is a person and they're allowed to unlimited donations to campaigns. I mean, it just tells you about the direction America's headed in and what they care about. So is it like fascism? Is it corporatism? Is it neoliberalism? Is it, slap whatever word you want on it. But at the end of the day, both China and the United States are run by similar systems, which is corporations with outsized power merging with the state and having their interests put before the citizens. Now, coupled with the fact that we're in economies that require growth, nonstop production, expansion, the capitalist part of it, it's no wonder that the citizens are being bombarded with consumerism and materialism, which is what you're seeing here, what's happening to men and women. Our dating standards have changed. They've become materialistic and consumerist in nature. Our relationship dynamics have changed. They've become very much the same way. I mean, look at relationships today. They no longer exist. We have situationships. We have sugar daddy, sugar baby relationships. It's become transactional. It's become for profit, right? We're very much so benefiting short term. For example, I give you money, you give me sex. I put you as a prostitute on retainer, we'll call it sugar baby, and you come over and blow my old wrinkly balls for this $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever allowance I give you. And it's called an exchange. And it's a transactional relationship. And if the people can stand each other, eventually they may stay together. But everything is transactional in nature today. The character of a person, the depth of a person, where they grew up, their family, whose family you come from, none of that matters anymore. It's like, do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you make six figures? Do you own multiple apartments here? I mean, that's what the Chinese women were asking for. You must have your own house. You must have a car. You must have these many assets. You must have a job. And I'd like to live in 2 different cities. And what about the man? Is he going to treat you right? Does he have good morals? Does he have good character? Is his family well put together? No questions about that stuff. That stuff doesn't matter to them. It's all material possessions.
Realize I'm wrong. I never regret it. Although I make corrections when I see my mistakes, if others try to persuade me, I still cling to my beliefs. However, this time, seeing my dad's dentures, my emotional defenses really crumbled. So, I made a decision. From now on, if getting married can make them feel that I've become obedient, considerate, and filial, I'm willing to make it happen as soon as possible. I'll try to lower some of my standards for a partner. I hope they can feel my change and sincerity.
37岁，大龄未婚。
I am a 37-year-old older unmarried woman. I once turned down an IT guy who earned 18,000 yuan a month. At that time, I was full of hope for the future and expected to meet my ideal love, so I didn't consider him as my best choice. But as time passed, I've turned 37 in the blink of an eye and have finally become an older leftover woman. Now, the men I meet on blind dates are worse one after another. It's only now that I realize that the 18,000 yuan IT guy might have been a major turning point in my life and perhaps even the highlight of my life. However, I truly didn't feel anything for the 18,000 yuan IT guy, though he was indeed a very good person. Not only was he kind, with a stable job and a decent salary, but he was also very motivated and had even earned his bachelor's degree on his own. When we were together, we got along very well, had good conversation, and shared similar views on life and values. He was such a considerate person back then. I casually mentioned in front of him that I felt my health was declining as I aged, things like poor sleep and constant fatigue. He immediately arranged for me to go to the hospital to take care of my health. He was full of expectations for future children. When we talked about having healthy children, he was very thoughtful and even made soup for me personally. But at the time, I didn't have that kind of romantic feeling for him.
Wow.
I thought such an important life decision couldn't be made hastily. I was afraid of being unhappy in the future, and I thought that maybe I would meet a more outstanding man later, so I rejected him. Looking back now, I'm almost in tears. He was such a good man, and I let someone so worthy slip through my fingers. After that, the men I met on blind dates just kept getting worse, which only made me regret my decision more. When I mentioned feeling...
And this is what we try to warn the women in the West. You're not getting any younger, dude. Your quality of men is going to keep dropping. You're never going to beat the quality of men, the pool of guys you have when you're your 20s through 25. After that, it keeps declining. They're going to keep getting older, more out of shape, more decrepit, fat, short, balding, wrinkly as fuck looking, no steady jobs, nothing. The prospects for top tier men completely evaporate as you get older. Women can't fathom the fact that post 30, in China it's post 25 or 27, you're considered a leftover woman. But post your prime, a man doesn't want you. Why would he invest in an older woman unless you bring to the table something significant personality-wise, femininity-wise? Because you're competing against the 20-year-old girl, 22-year-old girl, the 23-year-old girl who's in her prime, who hasn't had emotional baggage and trauma, damage, all this stuff from dating. So the choice is for a man in a position that can choose, that you want, because you're chasing these high-value men, looks at you, Miss 30, versus you, Miss 22, and already you're losing on age alone. That one's going to have 8 years on you of youth and beauty. What can you provide at that age that beats out the 22-year-old? Well, most women don't understand that these 22-year-olds are usually headaches. They're usually like this woman when she was in her youth. They don't know anything about the future, not thinking about it. They may make bad decisions, prone to cheating, hanging out with girlfriends, having guy friends, all the stupid shit that they need to be taught, right? Could disappear in the girl that's 28 to 30. She should already by then understand her position, her value in the market, tone down the bullshit, submit to a man, give him babies early, as many as he wants, be there for him, do all the extra things that these young women think they're too good to do. That's how you stand out. But, older women don't want to meet that. They don't want to lower themselves. That's how they see it. But it's really just bringing more value to a relationship, to a man, for him to feel like he's getting a good deal. Because a guy worked his ass off. He's 35. He has to be older than you, right? So he's probably 35, 40, worked his ass off. Young women want him. And then there's you, and you want him too. Well, how do you separate yourself? But we're considered misogynist for saying that. Like, your life that awaits you after 30 in the dating pool is horrendous. You're going to end up alone with cats, box wine, all the shit that we laugh about. We're only laughing about it because the women that talk about it are so delusional that they try to double down on their lifestyles. But this shit isn't anything to be proud of. You're going to wake up one day 65 with your back hurts and you're going to crawl out of bed, slip, break your hip, and there's nobody there to help you. You're just going to die. And your cat's going to eat your fucking eyeballs out and your tongue. And they'll find your body when it smells like absolute shit, decrepit, decaying flesh, and somebody notices that you haven't picked up in days, or mail is stacked up and they see your corpse already half rotten. Like that's really what you want? That's empowering? Bro, how do we fall off so much that women have convinced themselves like that's the path they need to take instead of a man who loves them with children who love her dearly? for life. No, I'll be a corporate cuck and work in a cubicle and get yelled at by a boss that's most likely a man, working for multiple bosses above him that are most likely men that don't give a shit about me and don't pay me enough for all the stress that they're causing, and that's somehow more valuable than a family. Okay.
Feeling unwell. Some men responded dismissively or even ridiculed me, saying things like, "Everyone else is fine, only you have so many problems." Some even questioned whether I had done something wrong in the past that caused my poor sleep, which is utterly ridiculous. Facing such attitude, I feel like having children with these men would be absolutely unworthy. Now, all I have left is a sense of helplessness. At this age, practical issues have become the biggest obstacle. Having children is no longer a matter of casual romance. It's a significant life decision, especially as I approach the limit of my fertility. I can no longer consider these issues with pure feelings alone. I just hope that the 18,000 yuan IT guy I once rejected can live a happy life forever because he truly deserves the best woman.
我就是那个停水停电拉闸的要80万彩礼的女主。
I am the older leftover woman who once demanded an 800,000 yuan betrothal gift and has been indecisive about marriage for a long time. Now, at 38 years old with a master's degree, I remain unmarried and childless. I feel that life is incredibly difficult and deeply understand the cost of late marriage, filled with profound regret. Many men now mockingly refer to me as an older woman whose water and electricity have been cut off, as if the circuit breaker has been turned off. I once had great confidence in marriage, believing I could have better options, and I always looked down on what I considered ordinary men, thinking I deserved a better partner. As a result, I was always looking for a better horse while riding a donkey, never satisfied with the current options, hoping for better opportunities in the future. However, today I realize that my youth has quietly slipped away. I no longer have my youth. My past arrogance and high standards have led me into an irretrievable predicament. Now, I understand that I made serious mistakes and I even feel a deep sense of guilt. I don't know how to cleanse these mistakes. All I can do is continually repent for myself. I have missed important opportunities in life, and it wasn't until now that I realized my pride and unwillingness to compromise destroyed the happiness I could have had. I was wrong, truly wrong. The flowers may bloom again, but youth will never return. This saying echoes in my mind. I really was wrong, I truly was wrong. The passage of time has made me realize that my arrogance and unwillingness to settle will ultimately leave me with nothing but regret. Now I am filled with self-reproach and guilt, especially towards my parents, as I have caused them endless worry about my marital issues. I am now deeply remorseful. I now only pray that heaven gives me another chance to find love, and I vow that I will cherish it and not miss it again. I sincerely advise all young women not to delay marriage repeatedly, for in the end you may end up like me, missing the best timing and regretting it deeply.
你看，今天早上又吐又拉。
I am 35 years old and still single. This morning, I felt terrible, with nausea and diarrhea, a severe sore throat, and a general body ache. After a few days without washing my hair, I felt so messy that it was really depressing. I couldn't help but think, who would still want to marry me? In the past, I had too many requirements for men: a house, a car, and savings. Gradually, I've been left behind. Recently, I've been getting sick once a month. I'm so scared of taking medicine that it's exhausting. I really hope to find a suitable man to take care of me. Right now, I feel that whether he has money or not doesn't matter. The most important thing is having someone by my side when I'm sick, who can buy me medicine, get me water, and cook for me.
You're what, dude? Now you're looking for character and value at 35? Unreal.
Think having such a man would be enough. When I'm healthy, it doesn't matter, but when I'm sick, the feeling of loneliness is truly sad and helpless. I'm physically and mentally exhausted. Today, I have no appetite at all, which is really unbearable. I went to the hospital to see a doctor and spent 86 yuan on medicine. The doctor prescribed several medications, including a throat spray because my throat is inflamed and there's pus in it. The cost of the medicine puts a lot of pressure on me. Earning money is not easy, and it always feels insufficient when spending it. It really makes me feel helpless. Earning a living is so difficult, and this way of life is exhausting. I don't know when I will be able to get out of this state.
我们身边很多女孩子70几年的，包括丁克特别多。
Around us, there are many girls, especially women born in the 1970s, who choose a ding, double income no kid, lifestyle. Many people, when young, experienced the peak of the times, made some money, and thus felt an overwhelming sense of confidence, believing they were independent and didn't need to form a family or depend on men. Once, I was also like this, thinking that marriage was completely unnecessary, thinking to myself, who are you?
I don't want to marry you. When we are young, who would think about regret? In those days, youth seemed endless, and we could squander it freely. However, as time passed and I reached the age of 45, I found that my friends around me began to feel regret. I observed that women born in the 1980s were gradually entering a midlife crisis, and that feeling is truly frightening. At this point, considering having children again, while men might choose younger partners, for women, even finding a younger guy may not resolve the issue. I am 45 years old now, and I am also anxious. Recently, I joined a marriage platform and, after observing for a while, I found that the young people on the platform are mostly from the 1990s, and even many from the 2000s have already started looking for partners. This phenomenon has given us women of this age a strong sense of contrast. I posted a message on this platform, sharing my insights after years of silence in the pursuit of finding a partner again. Facing reality, I realized that I now have to compete with a group of girls from the 1990s
There
for men.
it is.
Reality has indeed taught us a harsh lesson. Achieving self-worth is undoubtedly important, but it does not prevent me from seeking companionship and pursuing marriage and children. Everyone's life path is unique.
You can't sell yourself on that bullshit. You're 45. Your life path's over. No guy you want. That's the issue. No guy you want wants you. You have to settle for the bottom of the barrel. Scrape the bottom, sis, and get a guy that's still breathing. Because at that age, that's really all you could get. And the problem is they've had a taste of the top percenters when they were young. They're passing up guys earning tens of thousands of yuan, which is like thousands of dollars. So these guys on a Chinese salary were just peak and still wasn't good enough because I can do better. The I can do better virus that they all have when they're younger. And this is where it leads, man.
And when the time is right for marriage, one should courageously marry. When it's time to have children, one should have them. Never miss out on those beautiful opportunities, and do not give up the happiness of marriage in pursuit of a career. I truly regret the pride I had when I was young.
我也是91年的，30岁了，没有结婚。
I was born in 1991, so I'm 33 years old and unmarried. Looking back at when I was 25 and 28, I didn't realize that finding a partner would become so difficult in my 30s. At that time, I didn't think that finding the right person would be a problem. In fact, I was a bit picky. But now I've come to realize that at this age, there are even fewer people willing to introduce me to potential partners. I deeply understand that in your 20s, you might think that those who aren't good enough for you would be okay, but by your 30s, you may find that you don't even get the chance to meet anyone. Many good men have already been chosen before they turn 30, and now those high-quality men in their 30s may prefer to choose younger women in their 20s.
Do prefer.
So after turning 30, it's indeed increasingly difficult to find the right person, and I've even found that there are fewer people willing to introduce me. I really feel a bit regretful, so I guess I just have to keep trying my luck. I hope I can find a suitable man and end my single status this year.
See, suitable. They keep hanging on to as many things on that list that they have that is keeping them single. You can meet a ton of men in your 30s. You have no problem meeting men. It's just, again, lower the standards and you will get married, but they don't want to lower the standards too much because they think they're better. So when they say, I want to meet a suitable man, I want to somehow meet a Chad, I want to meet a Yang, whatever, the top 1%er. If I could just meet that one good guy one more time in my 30s, it just doesn't happen like that. Unless you're like an absolute specimen of a beauty, even in your 30s. You know, it's like you're just blessed genetically that you're better looking than most chicks in their 20s. Those are rare and very few in between. But if you're just a normal chick and you've aged out and you're still single, you're in for a world of hurt, man. This is just the reality of dating. It's like when men have absolutely no value in their 20s. When you're a young dude in your 20s, when you're 21, 22, broke as fuck, you're looking at all the hot chicks your age that are hanging out with all the dudes in their 30s in like the VIP at the club or the bar. The guy has a bunch of bottles he's buying for all the chicks. And it's like, you can't even afford the bottles. You can't even afford the VIP section. You're completely outclassed because that guy has 10 plus years on you of earning money, of maturing, of starting a business, of like going high up in his career somewhere. You're just starting out, bro. You're still in college. You're dead broke. You got nothing to your name. The game is tilted that way.
还没有结婚。昨天
I'm already 35 years old, and I'm still not married. Last night, my mom called me on a video chat to check on how I've been doing lately. During the video, I could tell that I looked really exhausted, appearing quite worn out. I'm sure my mom noticed it right away. She asked me with concern in her voice, "Are you sick?" I quickly responded, "It's nothing, just a small cold." But as usual, she started worrying immediately. "Have you gone to the hospital? Did you get any medicine? Have you eaten?" Is there anyone around to take care of you? Even though she knows all the logical answers, she couldn't help but express what was really on her mind in the end. She pleaded with me, "My dear, please don't be so picky anymore. I'm begging you, just find someone and get married. It doesn't matter if his conditions aren't that great, even if he's been divorced, or even if he has kids." He said it's fine, even if he has 2 kids. You're already 35 years old, and when you fall seriously ill, with no one by your side to take care of you, I just worry so much. Seeing the anxiety and pain on her face, I could only force a smile and try to comfort her. "I'm looking, Mom. If I find a boyfriend this year, I'll definitely bring him home for you to meet." She always tries to persuade me, "Don't set your standards so high, stop being so picky." Today at noon, she called me on video again. This time she told me, "I asked around for you, and there's a man in our neighboring village. He's 40 years old. His ex-wife was from another province and she's already gone back home after the divorce. My mom suggested that I meet him, saying that since we are neighbors, we could help each other out if anything happens." She also mentioned that the man only has 1 daughter, so the burden isn't too heavy, and she even said that if we got married, we could still have another child. She kept urging me to take some time off and come home to meet this man. My mom is insisting that I take a couple of days off and go back to the village to see him. I'm really feeling quite frustrated and helpless. I can't help but think, maybe I could find a fake boyfriend, pay someone to pretend to be my boyfriend and take him home to deal with my mom. That way, she might finally stop worrying so much and stop putting herself through this constant stress.
什么10月，感冒10多天了，一直都没好。
Recently, my mood has been really bad.
Of course it has. They're only sorry when they're out of options. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. It says, "This disgusts me. You only need someone to take care of you because you're sick and in need. These women are selfish and self-centered." OMG, she's going to marry a guy to try to make amends to her parents. Yeah, that sounds like the guy will get a real winner. At least Chinese women start to realize this in their 30s. Western women still think they deserve DiCaprio when in their 40s. Gee, I'll try to lower my standards. Yeah, sure she will. Yeah, this is insane that it's happening all the way across the pond too, where they have a completely different culture, completely different society, completely different way of life. But the outcome is still the same. So what is it foundationally that's causing this issue? It's a good question to ask. Maybe somebody could put 2 and 2 together, flesh it out in the comment section. Be curious to read that stuff. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit the like, subscribe button. And if you haven't subscribed to the second channel, join us on some calls. We have them 5 days a week. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Links are all in the description below. See you on the next one.